Alrighty guys, welcome back to another one. In this video we're loading up some 20 gauge field loads or hunting loads, not game or target loads, even though you could totally use them as such if you wanted to, but this is a 1 ounce load of number 6 shot. For a game or target load you typically use 7.5, 8, or 9, but this is a hunting load, so I'm using number 6 shot. So me and Josh had a whole bunch of hauls, almost 200 of them, sent to us by John from Facebook, so we really appreciate that. There is so many different kind of hauls in this box. We have some old Federals, some new Federals, we have some Remingtons, Gun Club, we have Universals, Super Targets, some Fiocchis, low brass Fiocchis, high brass, even some buckshot hauls. These are NSI 4-buck. That's what I have back in them. Number 4-buck, 20 pellets of it with buffer, and even a yellow bingo chip because the hulls are yellow. Pretty cool looking shell. So a lot of you guys have been asking for more 20 gauge reloading videos, so that's exactly what we're doing here. A few of you have asked for some steel shot in 20 gauge. I am holding off on that just for a little bit because the only steel shot I have are BB shot, so I don't really want to shoot BB through a full choke 20 gauge. That's the only 20 I have, and I believe Josh's is also a 20 or full choke, so don't really want to shoot BB through that. If they were modified chokes, sure, but we'll get some actual steel shot of a much smaller size. I'm thinking around 1 or 2, possibly 3, and we'll certainly do some 20 gauge steel shot videos. Sometimes it's just, you know, kind of hard to get away from the larger gauges, 16, 12, and 10, because as Josh put it, the larger gauges just have a lot more potential. Even though the 3-inch 20 gauge is certainly no slouch, it can be loaded just as heavy as a 16 can. Both 3-inch 20 and 16 gauge 2 3/4 can be pushed to 1.5 ounces easily with lead shot. The 16 gauge has a slight edge on it because it can be pushed to 1 3/4, even 1 7/8 with lead shot. I don't load 1 7/8 and 16 gauge, but it can be done. The max I've ever done is 1 3/4, but that's just me. I like magnum loads. And of course the 16 has a larger bore. Larger bore shotguns naturally tend to pattern a little better, but with today's, you know, modern components, you can make any gauge pattern just as well as you want it to. The sky's the limit anymore. Anyway, how about I stop rambling and actually get to loading something here? This is a Federal haul from, I believe, the 90s, and the reason I say that is because the plastic looks and feels the same as a 90s Federal 10 or 16 gauge shell, and 12 too. I've got a lot of those. But you see this brass on here, how it's slightly tarnished? Well, all you need is some Qual-Dot steel wool 4-0, and just like this. It'll shine it right back up. You can see it's already a lot better. Steel wool is kind of, this piece anyways, kind of worn out, but it works. Go around the top, get the bottom around the rim. That brass almost looks good as new again. It's not brass, it's steel, but I'll get the bottom of it too, just laying it on the, you know, counter here and just like that. Good as new. And yeah, that was totally unnecessary, but I just like making them look pretty. Lee 20 gauge resize ring. I'm using a Lee Loadout, by the way, if you couldn't tell. Gonna deprime. Ooh, that was tight. Definitely resized. Probably should have stuck the primer in there. I'm just using a Winchester 209. You could also use Shadot's. Any standard strength primer here will work. Reprimed. I'm using 19 grains of Hodgdon Long Shot here. This is my favorite powder. I use it in everything, 10, 12, 20, 16, 24, 28, 32 gauge. It is my most used powder and my favorite. But this is a 1 ounce 20 gauge load. You could also use powders like HS6, WSF, Blue Dot. You guys get the idea. There's a lot of powders you can do a 1 ounce 20 gauge with. 800X. IMR Blue. List goes on. That was 20. Drop that back a little bit to 19. There we go. 19 grains. The wad I'm using is a Winchester. I believe this is the WAA-20 7/8 ounce wad. I took this out of a Winchester Universal shell. I'm not using this wad by choice. It's just the only 20 gauge target wad that I have on hand. This is a wad meant for tapered holes like the Remington STS, Gun Club, Winchester AA, Universal, Super Target, all of those. But so you have to take some pliers and pinch out the gas seal, or you can use paper towel or a napkin, put it underneath the wad, seat it in your hull. Just something to seal the powder. See what I'm doing here? I'm just flaring out the gas seal with those pliers. You guys have seen me do this many times, and that is to get a better fit in these large diameter straight wall shells. See how I'm having trouble getting that in? The gas seal is actually flared out a little bit too much, but that's a good thing. It's just going to get us a much better seal in this hull. If you don't do that right there, yes, you can still shoot it, but you're going to get powder migration. You're not going to really see any significant loss in velocity because the powder still gets burned. The bottom of the shot cup is actually roughly the same diameter as a regular, straight wall shell. It still seals the powder. It doesn't let it go all the way up the hull. But that's just something to watch out for. It's best not to use tapered wads in straight wall hulls, but it totally can be done. If you flare out the gas seal, you can put a thin nitro card or overshot card over the powder under the wad. You will lose a little bit of capacity doing that. Your wad will sit up higher. You'll not be able to put as much shot in it. Or you could just, like I said earlier, this is a Wade Rush thing. Just recently made a video on it if you want to go check that out. Bubba Roundtree Outdoors, Wade Rush. Then paper towel, napkin, anything like that underneath the wad will totally seal it right up. I'm going to add some compression to this because this is a 7/8 ounce wad, not a 1 ounce wad, but a little bit of compression. You can get 1 ounce in here, no problem. Alright, I'm using number 6 shot lead. This is a mixture of copper plated, nickel plated, and just regular lead shot. It's all high antimony shot, so it's pretty hard stuff. But the nickel plated, I imagine, is quite a bit harder than the copper plated or standard lead pellets are. Actually overshot it. But see, an ounce comes up right to where it needs to be. That was 1.3 ounces. It's still 1.1. Back that off a little bit. We now have 1 ounce. It's still right where we need it to be too. Using this is a 6-point, so front station. I can't remember what it is. Yep, it's the front station. You want the valley of the crimp facing you. I barely ever load 20 gauge, and sometimes I forget which is the 16 gauge. The 6-point is on the front, 8 on the back. On the 12, 8 is in the front, 6 is on the back. 20 gauge is the same way as the 16. And this is just something I do. I don't just pull down and crimp once. I crimp it, lift it back up, turn the hull, crimp again. That was a guitar pick that I had right here. I'll explain that in just a second. You guys see this press wobbling like that? That's why the guitar pick was there. But we have a very nice crimp. Looks great. So what you guys saw fall off the press was a guitar pick. If any of you play guitar, this is a Hetfield Black Fang. I have this stuck in here just because, that right there, I have used this press so much over the last 3 years. I've loaded thousands and thousands of shells on it that it's walled out really bad. This press right here, I know you guys can't really see it, but it's still rock solid. This one is worn out. I really need to replace that. The guitar pick is just acting as a shim. That way it don't rock so bad anymore. So what do you do if you want a little bit more range? That was just a target wad. Ballistic Products sent me some of these BP 2092 Quasar wads. They are for 3-inch shells. They have them in 2 3/4 inch shells too. But yeah, 3-inch wad. All we have to do here is trim off about a quarter of the wad. Actually, it is a quarter inch, not about that much right there. We now have a essentially BP 2090 wad. These are replacements for the PT 2092 wad. I believe these are now made with the TPS wad resin. Steel shot wad, but also a great extended range lead shot wad. This wad comes pre-slit. There's no need to slit it yourself. It is hinged. The pedals are. I know you guys can't see it. It's hard to see on camera. But they are hinged. So it'll open itself up, upon firing. This time I'm using a once fired brand new Federal Hall, 7.5, 7/8 ounce, 2.5 dram. This was a game target load, I mean. So, again, deprime and resize. That one wasn't near as tight as the old shell I loaded. Again, using a Winchester primer. (20 grains, or sorry, 19 grains of long shot. Right there. I just guessed. I had that on ounces. Just happened to pour 19 out of that. The BP 2090 wad. This was a 2092, but I cut it down to fit 2 3/4 inch. Gonna use Gary Caskey's wad tamper here. Fits like a glove. Well guys, my phone just kind of stopped, recording here, but all that I've done is added 1/4 inch of fiber cushion wad. I cut down from this 10 gauge fiber cushion wad, and on top of that, I'm using one 32 gauge nitro card, just like that. You could totally just use only the fiber cushion, but you would need to use 3/8 inch of fiber cushion here. I just use a nitro card underneath the lead shot. That way the pellets don't embed themselves into the fiber cushion. Now, if this was buckshot, don't need to worry about that. Buckshot doesn't really tend to stick into the fiber cushion, but I have noticed with just lead birdshot, it will sometimes embed itself into the fiber cushion. That's why I'm using the nitro card. And the 32 gauge nitro cards fit the 2092 wads like a glove. And of course, 1 ounce of any size lead shot you want. I'm using, again, number 6 shot here. You could, actually what I'm going to do is load 0.98 and buffer it up to 1 ounce. That way, we got some buffer in here. This is an extended range load. Buffer helps with that. Alright, so we have 0.98 of an ounce. I'm going to use some buffer. Whenever I grab out of here, this happens to be Ballistic Products Original. Also have the mix number 47 and ITX. All will work just fine. I just happened to grab the original. Half a scoop of the Lee 2.2 cc dipper. Brings us right up to 1 ounce. So when you're tamping this buffer in, you just need to tap it until it's flush with the pellets. Just like that. And it's ready for a crimp. This one is an 8-point crimp, so backstation. You want, again, the valley and the crimp facing you. Pre-crimp looks just like this, nice and good. And here's our crimp. It looks nice and good. It's just a great looking load there. You guys can see here the 20 gauge Lee Loadoll actually does a really good job. It doesn't really taper the shells. They're sort of like, factory loads are. They're kind of square on top, but that's fine. They'll feed in most guns. Here's one I've got loaded with some number 1 buck, 10 pellets of it. Conventional. This was a Gila haul. I'm assuming it's a Federal haul. It's a Gila load. Anyway, guys, I guess that's about all I got for you today. Please like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you got any questions or comments, leave it in the comment section down below, and we will get back to you. If you want to, go check out our Patreon. It's as low as $1 a month, and every penny we get goes right back into the channel. We also have an Instagram. It's at The Shotgun Scientists, if you want to go check that out. I'll leave a link to that below in the description as well. We also have a Rumble channel that we post some stuff on that we can't really post here on YouTube. So if you want to go check that out, follow us on Rumble. There's also a link to that in the description below. But, other than that, you guys take it easy, and we will see you in the next one.